So I'll always be one of the first people to admit that I'm addicted to nicotine, but my habit's a little bit different than most people's. So I smoke whole leaf tobacco, which comes in bags like this, but that means I have to grind the leaves and then mix them together to make a palatable blend. I usually smoke out of corncob pipes, kind of like this one that I made, but today we're going to be making a chewing tobacco blend because I also like to dip. So for my chewing tobacco blend, I'll be using 3 different Virginias, a Virginia Red, a Virginia Bright, and a Virginia Lemon. Then I'll also be using a Maryland tobacco, Maryland 609. So chewing tobacco requires 3 different ingredients. Obviously it requires tobacco, but you also need some molasses and some apple juice. But I don't have molasses, so I'm going to be making some with some brown sugar. I also don't have apple juice, but I have a lot of apples. So first up, the molasses. I have my hot plate here. I'm going to pour a little bit of water in it, and then we're just going to put some brown sugar up in there. I don't have any amounts specifically, but you don't really need to measure. It's just going to taste like molasses in the end. I'm using a pumpkin stem to stir it because I don't have a wooden spoon and it'll scratch this pan. But this is what it should look like when it starts boiling. You kind of want to get it till it's thick and black. If it looks like it's going to take a long time to boil, just add more sugar. It's not that complicated of a process. Slowly but surely, it should start looking like this. So we're not done yet though, because it's not quite thick enough and it's also not dissolving all the sugar yet. So we're just going to pour a little bit more water in there. Whoa. And then we're going to redo the process. Once you pour more water in there, it should start to look darker. You want to do this 2 or 3 times until you get something that's really dark brown. And then when it cools, it'll be black. So next up is the apples. And we're just going to take some apples, put them in the pan, and crush them with a 40 bottle. So I filtered the juice from those apples. You can see there's a couple seeds in the bottom. This is actually closer to apple cider rather than apple juice. So either way, we're going to turn on our hot plate and pour some of this in there. We want to reduce this down to a syrup-like consistency. So it's starting to get a little bit thick, but we just want it a tiny bit thicker than this. Once you got it to the consistency you like it, just go ahead and add a little bit of molasses. Mine does look a little bit watery right now, but we're going to thicken it up. So like I said, this only requires 3 ingredients, but I always like to add a little bit of salt. It helps balance out the flavor of the sugar and not make it too sweet. When you're done, it should look like this. Now we're going to let it sit for a couple hours so all that juice can soak into the tobacco. So I did try it and I like it. It's pretty good, but it is really sticky. So I'm going to have to let it sit overnight before I can, do a lot of it. But that's how easy it is to make your own chew, guys. Now, do I support going out and get a nicotine habit just because? No. But if you smoke regular tobacco, it's much better to get whole leaf.